I've spent so many years trying to find the best products for acne-prone, textured, oily skin, and these are my favorites. Hi gorgeous, welcome back to the beauty room. My name is Elle if you're new, and today I'm finally going to share with you all of my holy grail products for those of you who have acne-prone, textured, oily skin. I've gotten a couple of requests to do this video, and I know a lot of you guys have subscribed to me because you have the same skin type, so I have done all of the hard work for you, thanks to my genetics. And all of these products I have tried within the past like 10 years and can vouch that they are my favorites or something that I would recommend to you if you have acne-prone, textured, or oily skin. Keep in mind, even though we have the same skin type, our skin might react differently to things anyways. So I'm gonna do my very best to describe these products in a way that can help you make a decision on if it's worth it for you. And if for some reason there is a category I am not mentioning in this video, it's probably because there's not a product I love enough or feel confident enough to consider my favorite or holy grail to include in this video. Every once in a while I get comments of people asking, why didn't you include this? Or why didn't you include that? And it's probably because I don't have anything in my makeup collection yet that I've tried where I'm like, yes, this is the one. I'm only including products in this video that I would consider the one for me and I would be repurchasing and rebuying for years on end. I also wanted to mention that I have hormonal acne, which just means my acne is not caused by, not washing my pillowcases or not drinking enough water or all of the stereotypical things that people think acne is caused by, or even not washing off my makeup or doing a skincare routine. I have had a consistent skincare routine since I was probably like 12, 11 years old. I have always washed my face. I rarely ever miss a day. If I do, it's probably once a year. I am very, very consistent and disciplined with my skincare routine. So my acne might be different than your kind of acne. I can't really do too much to prevent my hormonal acne. Like right now I'm on my period and I tend to break out around my chin no matter what I do. But I'm gonna share with you skincare products that keep my skin clean, prevent acne as much as possible, but also treats acne through every stage that might come. And then I will also share with you my favorite makeup products because I know those of you who have acne prone skin or textured skin or oily skin might also struggle to find products, and that is what I'm gonna share with you. Everything will be linked in the description box as always with my affiliate link. If you do use those links, I earn a commission, but you do not have to use it. Feel free if you want to support my channel. If not, no hard feelings. But without further ado, let's get on to the video. I'm going to start off with skincare because to me, it's the most important thing when you have acne prone skin. It is way more important than makeup. Makeup is just what helps you kind of boost your confidence a little bit and enhances your beauty, and also makeup is fun for me, but skincare is top priority. And of course, we want to keep our skin really clean. I think it's a huge myth that people with acne prone skin have dirty faces or they're unhygienic. It's honestly, I think people who have acne prone skin are probably more hygienic than those who do not have acne prone skin, because we know that we have to do our skincare all the freaking time. So I have like a couple of cleansers and makeup removing products that I would recommend. Number one, you always start with taking off your makeup. So micellar water is top tier for me. I've been using this for years and years, have probably purchased like, I don't know, 20 to 30 bottles of this and finished it up all the way. Personally, I actually don't use this to do like the double cleanse. I actually use this more as like makeup remover. So instead of a makeup wipe, I use this in between like doing videos, or if I want to try out new makeup and I want to take off the makeup, then I'll use micellar water. I also use it to like wipe off swatches on my hand. I really like micellar water for that reason. And then every once in a while, if I'm really lazy, then I'll use micellar water instead of double cleansing with an oil cleanser. Another thing is that I do not wear makeup every single day. I mainly wear makeup when I'm filming, and those days I have a full face, a glam makeup on like I do today, full coverage. And then on the everyday, I tend to wear a little less coverage makeup and not as much products on my face. But either way, I also wear a lot of waterproof mascaras, so I prefer an oil cleanser or even like a cleansing balm. And the best one that I have found is the deep cleansing oil from DHC. Y'all, this is the shit. Okay, this is the best cleansing oil I have personally tried, and I prefer this over a cleansing balm. My problem with the cleansing balm is I hate, because sometimes I have long nails, I hate that it gets like in my nails. It makes me feel like anything that's in my nails will like end up on my face, so I don't feel like it's that hygienic, but also it's not that big of a deal. Something that I want to like put out there, if you guys have acne prone skin, like we tend to get obsessive over like small little things, like using a different towel every time to clean our face and things like that. And yes, we can do our best to really prevent the acne, but like also live your life, you know? Sometimes you might have to use a second day towel. It is what it is. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is I really love this cleansing oil because it just feels so like hydrating on the skin. And even though I have oily skin, my skin gets really dehydrated if I use too many products that might be overly cleansing my face. The other thing that I love about it is that it doesn't leave like this residue on your face. I've tried a lot of cleansing oils that leave, like when you wash your face with water, there's gonna be like a layer of oil that's still on your face, and you have to work hard to not only cleanse off the makeup, but make sure the oil is off your face. And I absolutely hate that because it makes a huge mess. But this cleansing oil does not leave that residue on your face. It's very comfortable. My boyfriend even uses this. He has very dry skin and he finds it works really well to clean off dead skin, and he is pretty sensitive to certain textures and things like that. So if it works for him and he has dry skin and it works for me, I think it will work for you. I also got this 50% off during the Ulta sale. I bought 2 of them. I ended up getting them for $15 each for the full size. Totally worth it for me, and I'm going to be using it all up. This is already my second bottle. Now, of course, our skin is not fully cleansed. We just got the makeup off. We need to do a second cleanse to make sure we're going deep into the pores and anything and everything that's on our face is completely off. So after I double cleanse, I go in with another cleanser, and I use the Cetaphil Gentle Cleanser. I recently switched to this because my skin has been so irritated with the change of weather. The heat and the sun really makes my skin react. Like I get like heat rashes and skin reaction all the time from the sun. So it just makes my skin a lot more sensitive in the summertime. And what I was using before was just drying out my skin. So I switched to this, and this is something that I do always go back to every once in a while because I used to use this all the time in college when my acne was really bad. I also personally think this is better than the CeraVe Hydrating Cleanser. I feel like this doesn't irritate my skin and it cleans just as good, and it just has a very soothing feeling to the skin. So I highly recommend this if your skin is very sensitive or becoming really reactive depending on the products you're using and everything like that. Again, this is also something that you can use if you have dry skin, oily skin, combo skin. It does not matter. I feel like this is just a tried and true product and you can't really go wrong with it. All right, so this is going to be the last cleansing product, I promise. It's the Panoxyl Acne Foaming Wash with 10% benzoyl peroxide maximum strength. So this is something that is very strong for the skin. It can actually harm your skin if you use it too often. I use this only once a week, and I tend to use it before I get my period because of course I get hormonal acne, and I might move it up to like 2 times a week or 3 times a week during my period if I start getting like cystic acne bumps, because this is the only thing that really I feel like works on hormonal acne. It doesn't always make it go away, but for example, if I feel cystic acne coming from under the skin, I will use this cleanser in the shower, and then the next day it won't be as bad, or I'll use it 2 days in a row to make sure I prevent the acne spot from actually like fully forming into like a cystic bump that will last forever. Those spots take forever to go away. Also, if it's already formed on my skin, I'll use this and it'll tend to go away within the next couple of days. So I really just use this as a treatment 1 to 2 times a week. I do not use it as a daily cleanser, and there are some weeks I go without using it at all to give my skin a break. So keep that in mind because it can damage your skin if you don't use it properly. And then on weeks or days that I don't use Panoxyl, I end up using another chemical exfoliant instead that's a little bit more gentle on my skin. This is the Paula's Choice 2% BHA liquid with salicylic acid. I don't find that this works on my cystic acne, but it works on small bumps that I have on my face. So if I'm not dealing with like major breakouts or hormonal breakouts and I just have like tiny little bumpies on my face, I will use this as a spot treatment on those areas. Or if I feel like I've just been wearing a lot of makeup and I don't want my pores to get clogged, I will put this all over my face as a toner. Again, I do not use this every day. I do not use this often. I only use it when I feel the need to use it and when there are certain areas of my skin that need to be treated. So that's probably like once to twice a week, and I do not use it around the same time as I'm using Panoxyl, because again, that can damage your skin because that's a lot of exfoliating products. And of course, when you're using these exfoliants, you should also be using sunscreen because they can make your skin a little bit more sensitive. So the sunscreen that I absolutely love, and it might not be a surprise to you if you watch my videos, it is the Skin 1004 Madagascar Centella sunscreen. I don't know if you can see, but I'm almost done with this stuff. It is the best sunscreen that I personally have ever tried. I use this as my daytime moisturizer, and it's the first sunscreen that actually makes me want to put on sunscreen because it doesn't give me a white cast. It's nice and glowy, really good to put under makeup, and it doesn't feel sticky on the skin. It's very thin on the skin and very easy to blend. If that is what you're also looking for in a sunscreen, then I would highly recommend trying this out. It is totally worth the hype in my opinion. Now, the last skincare product that I cannot believe I'm going to be sharing with y'all right now, because I really do want to gatekeep it, but I'm not going to gatekeep it to y'all because I love you guys. But if you dare make this viral on TikTok and I can no longer buy it, I will be so pissed because it's like my little secret, okay? Let's keep it between us. For those of you who like to wear pimple patches, especially if you have cystic acne, I feel like pimple patches can make a difference. I love these ones that I get at Walmart. They're their Hanhu custom blemish patches. You can get them in a bunch of different sizes and variety. The ones where you can cut them out, to me, work the best. And I love that you can cut them into your own sizing because, again, if you have cystic acne, you know, the zits can be pretty major, so I like to be able to cut my own, and this has a really good stick and hold. Sometimes when I put on pimple patches, they don't stick, they don't hold, so they fall off at the end of the night, so I feel like they don't really work. Not only that, these are not overpriced at all. They're around $2 to $7 depending on which packet you choose. I think these ones are like $3 for a packet, and they last a decent amount of time for me. And then I do have other pimple patches that I use if I need to wear it during the day, because these are definitely not meant to be worn during the day. They are very thick material and they will be noticed if you wear out in public. But there's not a daytime pimple patch that I would recommend because I feel like they don't really work. I just use them because they're invisible. Let's finally move on to makeup products. I have a lot of freaking makeup products to talk about, so I'm going to try to rapid fire through them, starting with a primer. I know that a lot of people do not think that primer is necessary. I don't think so either. There are days that I don't use this primer at all, but if you have textured skin and you're looking for a really good primer that blurs your pores just slightly, they're not going to make them disappear, but they're going to blur your pores and also create a nice smooth canvas for your foundation, I highly recommend the Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Primer. Again, I've spoken about this a lot on my channel already. This is my second bottle. She is pricey, but she is the only primer that I think that I actually love and want to use. So for that reason, I'm always going to recommend this. If you have acne prone skin, textured skin, oily skin, even dry skin, I feel like you would like this product. It's a very, like, it has a slight silicone-y feel, but it's also kind of moisturizing and wet on the skin, if that makes any sense. It's one of those things where you have to try it, so if you can see it in the store, I would recommend kind of swatching it to see if you like the texture. Best primer that I've personally ever tried and highly recommend, especially if you have textured skin that you want to blur a little bit more for your makeup. Moving on to foundations, I got a lot of questions about my favorite foundations for acne prone, textured, oily skin, and these I've declared as my holy grails. Okay, so number one is the It Cosmetics CC Natural Matte Cream. It has SPF 40 in it, and it's color correcting, pore refining, full coverage. I have recently gotten back to this because I actually did a brand deal with them. So they did sponsor a video on TikTok, but this video is not sponsored. I've had this for about a couple of months now, and I used to use the original CC cream every single day in college. That has always been my holy grail. And now that they have a matte version, I am back to it. And I like the matte version even more because it's matte, but it's not flat. It has like a satin natural finish. And it's better than the original one because the original one is almost too glowy and moisturizing, but this one is just, it has enough sheen to it, you know what I mean? Not only that, it gives you full coverage, and to me, this is the foundation that looks the best when you have acne on your face. It's not gonna hide bumps or anything like that, but what it will do is cover up any redness, any scarring, and kind of make the acne spot blend with the rest of your skin. I'm actually wearing it today, and I wear the CC cream almost every time I'm filming a video. So if you're ever wondering, it's probably the CC cream because it looks the best to me on camera and in person. And when you have acne, you know that there are some foundations that just make your acne look worse. And to me, this doesn't do that. This is the best foundation that I've ever tried, especially if you want full coverage. And on top of that, it has extra SPF. So pair it with your regular sunscreen, you're gonna get double sunscreen protection, which is really great, especially if you use chemical exfoliants in your skincare. Now, the problem with the CC cream is that because it's full coverage, some days it can be a little bit too much makeup for me, and I don't like to wear it anymore every single day like I used to in college. Now I like to go for more lightweight makeup, especially in the summertime. Creamy, heavy products just end up looking very wet on my skin, especially because the weather lately has been really humid. So for those of you who have the same problem as me, I would recommend instead using a powder foundation. I don't have this one with me right now, but I do plan on repurchasing it eventually, and it's the Bare Minerals Powder Foundation. This was the first foundation I ever wore, and it's the best because it's not heavy on the skin, but it does give you medium to, from what I remember, almost full coverage. But if you pair it with a concealer, it will be absolutely perfect coverage for acne prone skin. It's very lightweight on the skin, and because it's a powder, it works really well for oily skin. You just have to kind of know how to apply it on. I remember when I first got it, I actually watched a DVD that it came with on how to apply on the Bare Minerals foundation. That makes me feel really old, but even though it's an old product, I still think it stands the test of time because I don't think any other brands have really been able to compete with that. I don't even know if brands know that that's like competition right there. Best powder foundation by far, but second best, and one that I have recently been using more often, is the Makeup Forever, what is this called? HT Skin Matte Velvet Blurring Powder Foundation. So this one, what I really like about it is that it's in a compact instead of a loose powder foundation. It gives you full coverage. If you want to apply it like a regular foundation, you can use the sponge that it comes with and you will get full coverage, y'all. Especially if you apply a concealer underneath. You do not have to wear liquid foundation if you have this. The other thing about this is that it's not a fully matte product, especially if you have oily skin. I find that throughout the day, my skin is still pretty glowy and oily. Even with this powder foundation, it gives me the same look throughout the day as if I were to wear a liquid foundation, but it's so much easier to apply on, and it still has that full coverage without feeling heavy or sticky on the skin because it's a powder, which I think is absolutely revolutionary. Highly recommend to consider powder foundation if you have oily skin and acne prone skin, and if you have textured skin, because powders tend to blur and give your skin a soft focus finish. The other thing that I absolutely love this for, and it's like my secret sauce, is as a concealer. So I have found that every concealer that I use to spot treat my acne simply does not work. I've also got comments where people are like, every concealer I use make my acne look worse. And at the end of the day, I just don't recommend even trying to cover up your acne, truthfully. I think that just apply makeup around it, maybe put on a little bit of concealer, a little bit of powder, but call it a day, because it's always going to either rub off or it's always going to look worse, because acne just has like texture that if anything is on it, it obviously is going to look worse. So the best thing to do sometimes is just to not do anything with it at all, because if you put more product on it, it's just gonna look worse than if you just didn't do it at all. Something that I noticed that works better than a cream concealer on acne spots is using this powder foundation. So what I'll do is take like a fluffy blending brush, I'll put it into the powder, tap off the excess, and then I just kind of put it in the area I want to cover. And because it's full coverage, I feel like it covers like the coloring of the acne spot, but also since it's powder, it blurs it out. And you were gonna put powder on it anyways, so you might as well initially just put the powder instead of fussing with cream concealer. Now, for those of you who don't mind a little less coverage and you don't want something that is actually full coverage, then I have two products that I would recommend. Number one is the Fenty Skin Tint. This for me has been the best skin tint that I've tried for my acne prone, oily textured skin. It just gives a really nice finish. It again does not give you a lot of coverage, gives you like a light to medium coverage, but it's not super glowy. And I feel like a lot of skin tints are very, very shiny and very glowy, but this one is more of a natural kind of satin finish with a bit of a luminous to it. Now, if you're looking for a drugstore version that has a little more coverage than the Fenty one, the L'Oreal True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum is second favorite. Unfortunately, the problem with this is I can't find a perfect shade match. I have to mix two different shades with this. This one right here is rich medium, and then I have to mix it with like the medium tan. So I don't end up wearing this often because I absolutely hate mixing it with other products, but I do really like the actual formula of this. It does have more glow and shine to it, but again, it's not super, super greasy looking, and if you pair it with powder, it looks really nice on the skin, and it still gives you honestly medium to almost full coverage. This is not as much of a tinted serum as I feel like the Fenty one is. So depending on what you're looking for and your price range, I recommend both of these. If I'm being honest with you though, I do want to put this out there. Even though I recommend this, these aren't products that I use on the daily, and they're not products that I'm like always reaching for. I'm actually trying a lot of other tinted products right now to see if there's something that is even better than these that I personally would like to wear, because although I like these and I would recommend them, I don't know if they're holy grail status yet that have completely hit the mark for me. But I can't include those other products yet because I'm still testing them out, and I don't want to recommend them until I feel confident in my decision about them. Moving on to concealer, I have two different concealers that I would recommend. Number one is a color corrector for those of you who have hyperpigmentation, dark spots that you want to cover. The best one for me has always been the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Corrector. First of all, there are so many different peachy shades in this line, so no matter your skin tone, you're probably gonna find a color corrector that matches you and your skin tone. I noticed that a lot of brands that come out with color correctors, they usually only come out with like a pink, a peach, a green, a yellow. The problem with that is we all have different skin colors, and a peach color that might work for someone who has lighter skin will not work for me. So I love that Huda Beauty has a range of peachy shades. I like to use this under my foundation to cover my dark spots and hyperpigmentation. It's also a very liquidy, thin, lightweight formula, so if you do pair it with other products, it's going to blend seamlessly with the rest of your makeup and not pile onto the cakiness of it, because it's such a thin texture, but it's packed in pigment, so it still gives you that color correcting coverage. There has been no color corrector that for me has really compared to this at all. I think that out of all the ones I tried, this is best on the market, so I would highly recommend if you are looking for a color corrector. If you want a full coverage concealer, I don't talk about this concealer too much because it is the most full coverage concealer I've ever tried. I think it's more full coverage than Tarte Shape Tape. It is the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear. This stuff is bulletproof, okay? It is so full coverage, but also it's creamy, but if you're not careful, it can be kind of drying. So I wouldn't recommend this if you have like dry skin or even combo skin. Only if you have oily skin and acne prone skin where you want full coverage. It is so full coverage and almost extremely like a satin matte finish, but it will stay in place and last all day. So that's why I would recommend this. A lot of concealers, if you try to cover acne, it will like sweat off your face. It will fade off throughout the day, but this one will last all day on your face. It's like a foundation. So be very careful with how you use this. Make sure you find the right color because it's so full coverage. This is for a select few of you. It's not going to be for everybody. Powder is another important category if you have oily skin especially, and just in general if you have acne prone skin. Powder is what helps blur your skin and makes your skin kind of have that soft focus. So I also have a lot of recommendations for powder. But first, I do want to recommend something that's a little bit random, and it is blotting sheets. If you have oily skin and you don't use blotting sheets, I don't know what the heck you're doing, okay? Unless you do not care that you go throughout the day looking oily or greasy, then obviously you don't need blotting sheets. But for me, I hate looking greasy, so I always carry blotting sheets with me. And these are just like a pack from Muji. I don't even know how many are in here, but it seems like an endless pack for me because I've had this since I think it was February or January of last year, and I still think I have a good chunk of blotting sheets left. I swear by these. I keep them in my bag, and I also use them in between filming because I tend to get really oily, especially this season because it's so freaking hot. But the camera will always make you look a little shiny, so I always just blot my face, and there is all of the freaking oil. If you have oily skin and you're not using blotting sheets, I don't know what you're doing. I love the ones from Muji. They weren't expensive at all and they last me forever. If you prefer touching up with powder, but you don't want your powder to make you look cakier, then I would recommend the NYX Can't Stop, Won't Stop Mattifying Powder. This is super freaking thin. Sometimes it looks like you didn't apply anything on your face, but it has that mattifying finish that all you have to do is take a little sponge applicator. Oops, okay, let me take a different sponge. That just fell. Sponge applicator, and you just kind of dab it in your oily areas as like a touch-up powder, and there you go. Your makeup looks good as new, and I think this is anywhere between like $5 to $10. The second powder that I would recommend is for those of you who like coverage makeup, you like to bake with your powder. It is the Huda Beauty powder. Holy girl, ever since she came out with a fragrance-free version, I can now stand by this. This is the fragrance-free in banana bread. I don't find it too heavy on the skin or too cakey on the skin. It blurs the skin, gives you that mattifying finish, and it doesn't have a scent to it. It also doesn't make my skin react. To me, it is the best one out of all the powders that I've tried. Last but not least for powder is for those of you who are looking for just a talc-free, non-comedogenic powder, which is really hard to find because most powders have talc in it. It is the Kosas Cloud Set powder. I have the shade in Cushiony. I've had this for I think about a year, and I have used so much of it. It is kind of dented. I don't know if you can see it, but the dome is not doming anymore. This is a super matte, blurring, soft focus powder, hence the name Cloud Set. It gives you cloud-like skin. I use this as a setting powder when I'm too lazy to use the baking powder. I also sometimes use it as kind of like a touch-up powder. You just have to be very careful though because it is a heavier powder. It's not like the NYX one, which is more of a thin texture. This texture is definitely heavier and there's a little bit more pigment to it, so it's not as translucent. I think you'll really like this if you have oily skin, and also if you're looking for something that's talc-free and non-comedogenic. It's really freaking good, but it does not keep you from being oily all day. I feel like I do have to touch up my powder more often when I wear this, so keep that in mind if you decide to use this over baking powder. This is not going to give you that longevity in the same way that baking powder does. It's going to set your makeup, but you're still gonna be oily throughout the day, so just make sure to keep that in mind in case that matters to you. All right, the next few products are blushes and bronzers. I wasn't sure if I was gonna include this in the video because I'm like, is this really for people who have acne prone, textured, oily skin? Not really. I think I would recommend this to all skin types if you have dry skin, oily skin, combo skin. But for me personally, I have preferences where I like makeup products that are blurring on the skin. So these are what I would recommend if you're looking for the same thing. They are not very glowy at all, so keep that in mind. Number one is a liquid blush. These Charlotte Tilbury Matte Beauty Blush Wands are my favorite. The only two shades that I like on my skin tone that I would recommend if you're my skin tone is Peach Pop and Dream Pop. Dream Pop is like a strawberry red, super freaking pigmented, so watch out. And then Peach Pop is a like bright peachy kind of orange color that I love. I also have this on my cheeks right now. My favorite liquid blush of all time. These have a matte soft focus finish without making your makeup look cakey. They're really thin formula, almost kind of like a liquid to powder. They blend beautifully on the skin, and I think the shades give you a beautiful like fleshy glow. Are they really expensive? Yes. Do they have cheap packaging? Yes. But do I think I'm getting my money's worth? Yes, because they are my all-time favorite liquid blushes. I can't stop talking about these. I try my best not to wear it every single day so I can get use out of my other products, but if I could only choose one, I think I would keep these. I also really love to layer liquid blushes with powder blushes because it just makes my blush stay on a lot longer. And I've recently been wearing the Charlotte Tilbury liquid blushes with the Haus Labs blushes. So as you can tell, I'm crazy and I have 3 different shades because I'm obsessed with this blush formula. It is super thin and not super pigmented right off the bat. It has like a medium pigment, just enough where you can put a very light amount of blush, or you can really pack on the pigment. The shade that I love to pair with Peach Pop is called Pomelo Peach. This is not super pigmented, but it's like the powder version of Peach Pop. Again, I'm wearing this on my cheeks. It makes me feel very pretty, and the shades I think look really good on my skin tone. The formula of these are also like a matte finish, so it's not satin. It doesn't have any luminous or glow to it, and for that reason, I feel like it adds an extra blur to my cheeks. And my cheeks are usually really textured, so I like to use more of a blurring blush. And if you're looking for that, this is going to give you that blur. I also have the shade French Rosette, which I mix with Pomelo Peach, and I kind of usually end up putting that more as like a contour peach color. The colors are absolutely gorgeous. I also have the shade Fire Moon, which is more of a bronzy warm tone color. The finish of these are amazing. The colors are amazing. I love pairing these together, and they give me the ultimate like blurring cloud cheek look. So if that's what you're looking for, then I think this is gonna be for you. Then we have Cream Bronzer, and this one was really freaking hard because truthfully, I've liked every cream bronzer I've tried, so keep that in mind. Like, if you have a cream bronzer that you like already, there's no need to buy another cream bronzer because all of the cream bronzers are good. Like, I think that they all kind of work the same for the most part, and they all kind of give the same finish and blend. Cream bronzers don't seem to be hard to formulate, and every cream bronzer I've tried, I've liked. But the one that has remained my all-time favorite and what I would recommend if you have textured skin, even though I would recommend so many other ones also, it's gonna be the Huda Beauty Tantour in the shade Light for me. I have been using this for years, and the reason why I love it is because of the shade. It has that contour and bronzing shade, so not too orange, but also not too gray and cool toned. The texture is also like a cream to powder texture, and it gives you enough pigment. Sometimes cream bronzers are just not pigmented enough for me, so it won't show up on my skin, but this gives you enough pigment, and it blends out kind of like into a powdery texture that's kind of blurring on the skin. So it doesn't have like a glowy finish at all. It doesn't have a luminous finish at all. It's just more like a satin finish, and it looks so good on the skin for some reason. Again, it doesn't really enhance my texture. I don't know if it blurs the texture per se, but it just looks like my skin. Like when I put this onto my face, it does not look like I put makeup on my face. It just looks natural. So although this is an old cream bronzing product, and there are so many cream bronzers that have come out that are just as good, it's still my number one and something I would still recommend. Now for powder bronzer, because again, I love to layer my cream products with powder products, especially if you have oily skin. You know, sometimes makeup and colored makeup doesn't always last long on your face, so it always helps to have a little bit of both. The bronzer that I have been reaching for every single day that shockingly is not matte is the Haus Labs Power Sculpt Velvet Bronzer. First of all, Haus Labs, I just want to give credit where it's due. Y'all have amazing powder products, okay? I want to be on Haus Labs PR because I love their products. So if you know someone from Haus Labs, or if you work for Haus Labs, please just put me on your PR list because I love their products. Anyways, this is not a matte bronzer. This is actually more of a luminous glowy bronzer, but it is not texture enhancing. Like, it does not make your skin look disgusting. It still has a blurring effect to it, but with a sheen. So when you put it on your skin, you have kind of like a slight glow to it without feeling greasy, glowy, glittery, or sparkly. It just has a really nice sheen to it that looks natural on your face. I also have the color 6, which I think is perfect for my skin. I put it side by side with the Huda Beauty Tantour, and they're very similar in shade, so I think that's why they work so well together. I would say that the Haus Labs leans a little bit more warm tone and orange, but it's not orange in a way that makes me look like an Oompa Loompa, and the finish is absolutely gorgeous. Oh, I totally forgot. This is the last product, I promise. It's going to be a setting spray because, again, if you have oily skin, setting spray is going to be your best friend. It's going to make your makeup last all day, especially if you get like really sweaty throughout the day or anything like that. Your makeup can melt off your face. This is what I would consider an essential specifically for the summertime because my face gets so like gross in the summer heat, and the product that helps that is the One Size Until Dawn mattifying setting spray. First of all, I don't think that there are a lot of mattifying setting sprays out there, and then second of all, I don't think that there are a lot of mattifying setting sprays that make your makeup almost transfer proof, and this one does that. Now, the downside is that it smells like hairspray, and part of me feels like it breaks me out because it smells like hairspray. Do I know for sure? I definitely don't know for sure if it breaks me out or not. I do not wear this every single day for that reason because I don't know if it's like gonna cause me acne or anything like that. I mainly use the setting spray on really hot days where I am wearing a full face of makeup, or on days where it's like a special occasion and I need to have my makeup on all day and I want it to look good in pictures. Other than that, I don't really bother wearing it, but if you want your makeup to look almost the same at the end of the day or the end of the night, this is going to do that for you. It has made all of my foundations that are not transfer proof at least transfer resistant, because usually foundations, if you kind of like rub your hand on it or like rub your nose, it'll get everywhere, but with this setting spray, it prevents that from happening, and I think it's absolutely freaking insane. It's like magic in a damn bottle. Be careful if you have acne prone skin and you're sensitive to fragrances. This smells like hairspray. Might not be for you. If your skin can take it, and if you decide to wear it on occasion, I think you're gonna love it. Okay, I think those are all of my favorite products that I would recommend for acne prone, textured, oily skin. Hopefully I didn't forget anything, but if I did, I'll mention it in another video. Thank you all so much for this request. I feel like it's gonna be really helpful. And if you have acne prone, textured, oily skin, and there are products that you would recommend that you would consider holy grail status, let us know in the comments below because we wanna hear your recommendations. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed. Whew, I'm out of breath. I also will link everything in the description with my affiliate link. If you want to use my links, I do earn a commission. If not, no hard feelings. Subscribe if you're new to my channel, and as always, I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye!